Hey everybody, Seven here, and I'm here with a quick one. They have updated the update one more time, so we are in 005 right now, and they have made a few adjustments. Some I'm pretty on board with. A couple of them I'm kind of confused about, and some I'm not really super into. When 003 or whatever first dropped, I was completely head over heels in love with it. 004 was even better. This one's got some kind of oddities to it, and I'm not sure how I feel. Well, let's get into it. So the first thing you'll notice is there's actually quite a few fish now. This is now the complete collection of everything I've been able to find and everything I've been able to dissect out of the incubator. And all of the fish now show an appropriate percentage of just how much growth they have. So you see with the fish farm, it says, it says a lot more now, actually. It says oxygen, pressure, it says plants, everything. For a minute there, it was just saying exclusively just animals. But now you see, animals 195. But just like with the tree spreaders and the flower spreaders, putting in different tree seeds and flower seeds would make that higher. So you wouldn't just get 8,500, you'd get a percentage increase on that with a bigger, better tree seed. You now get that with these guys as well. So the ones have 100%. Twos have, or the threes rather. I wasn't able to find a two actually. The threes get 150. The fours get 200. The fives get 250. Sixes get 270. The sevens get 300. The eights get 325. The nines get 350. The tens get 400. And the 11s get 500. So now putting them all in there doesn't just give you, a different visualization, like out here with the, fish tanks and with the spreaders themselves. There is a visual representation of how different these guys all look, but they will actually start giving you a different variation on how much animal productivity you're getting over here on your terraformation screen. So the numbers will actually move differently based on what animals you put in. It also appears as though some of the unlocks have been adjusted. It looked like the fish farm you got a lot earlier than what you do now. Before it was long before the fish display. The display seemed to be the end-all be-all for what the animals were. Now you get them fairly early. As you can see, I don't have the exact numbers because I've already unlocked everything, and once you've done the unlock already, you can't see what the exact number that you needed to get was. But it's looking like now the very first thing that you're going to get is these tier 1 aquariums. So you're going to get the little guys first. And then after you get the little guys with the just general TI, then with the biomass index, you're going to get the tier 2, the big building that you can put onto your base. And then it's not until you already get those two to start generating animal mass that then you're going to get the fish farms that you can then, really start expanding and putting them out. Which does seem kind of counterintuitive because, when you're in the plant stage, you can get the butterfly farm, so you're not stuck with, the butterfly dome. And then once you get to the insect stage, then you get the butterfly farm. The butterfly farm is to get you deeper into the insects, and then you get a tier 2. So I'm thinking maybe this is going to get adjusted. Maybe you'll get this one somewhere in the insect stage, and then maybe there will be a tier 2 later on. I don't know. They've obviously been really tinkering with this hard. As even with brand new concepts that they've introduced, they've immediately within 48 hours adjusted and tweaked how they're going to be doing it. So this is a very hot update that's coming along, and the changes are going to be coming by the day. Now, speaking of changes, in 04, I think it was, they added the screen to show what was going on with how many supplies, how many demands, what items were being moved back and forth and around. When it first came out, in 03 or whatever it was, it worked flawlessly for me. 04, they tweaked it a little bit because some people were saying they had issues. Again, I had none myself, but some people were saying they had issues, and they tweaked a little bit. Mine still perfectly ran fine. But then they came out with, here in 005, a sort of priority list. So you saw that I had two demand silicon ones. I have one that's up in here in my main, regular section, crafting and that kind of stuff. I have another silicon demanding locker out here with all of my like biological crafting type stuff. So you can see when you hit the gear, you do this demand, you do the supply, and this is priority thing. Now, when I first got in, everything was automatically set to default of priority 0, and my drones didn't work at all. And I had to start running around setting everything to priority 1, and I had to do this not just on the demand lockers, but I also had to go out here to the extractors, and I had to set the supply extractor to be at least a priority 1 as well. Well, I started messing around with that, and I made another extractor. It was automatically set to 0, and these guys started working. And it was the strangest thing. And I also had to, once I set everything to 1s, I, saved, quit, back to the main menu, came back in, and then after everything had set, then the drone started working again. There might be some sort of a hiccup with, like, when the tier 2s were doing their weird thing, and, you'd put them in, like, say, the aluminum cave. You'd go over to the aluminum, slapped out a tier 2, it'd start getting out aluminum. When you logged out, came back in, you had iron coming out of it, and then you had to tear it down and replace it. There's some sort of refresh thing that's going on, at least for me right now with these guys. So, again, still a super, super hot update and changing by the day. So, I'm going to try to keep people updated as best I can with what's going on with the update for right now. I know I said I probably was going to not do one until the stable version came out, but this one did change a lot, especially the priority thing, and there's now the new eggs. Here in the starter lake, you were able to put down the water life collectors over here, and, it'd give you the A's, B's, and C's, but it would also give you the level 1 eggs. Yeah. So I have been able to pin down I think 5 or 6 different types of eggs that are now coming out of those water life extractors, and it's location based. So let me go up to the map and I'll walk you through where I found a number of these different eggs. Right, so starting right off with the starting location here. Well, the default starting location. You can start like 6 different places, but so starting location, I've got 1s. Out in the crater, I've got 7s. That's the huge meteor crater that you can start in sometimes. There's water here in this zeolite cave, the one that connects between the crater and the osmium cave that dumps you out over by the wreck over here. So I got 7s out of here too, and it's kind of lending me to believe that, just like with the extractors, how there's like a zone that you put an extractor down, it'll get you this, a zone that you put an extractor down, it'll get you this, So I'm thinking that depending on what zone you have a water life collector in, that's going to be like kind of a thing, because this whole zone is 7s, at least for me. Then going up to the little lagoon thing with the really brightly colored, cool looking water up here. This area was giving me 9s. So I put in 2 water life collectors here. I set them to like supply the A's, B's, and C's, just like clear it out kind of regularly, so that I would get like a good refresh going over and over, to increase the probability of getting an egg out of it. And I did that with all of these, just so that it would yank out the phytoplankton stuff there, and then just sort of distill out the fancy eggs that I could get for that zone. So the lagoon here gave me the 9s. The little shallow water here, I kind of was hoping that because it's like, it felt like a different zone because it's like mostly desert, that it would give me something. I actually didn't get anything out of there, and I was pulling, emptying this one pretty regularly. The A's, B's, and C's were coming in, but nothing else was coming in. The little body of water that was over by the aluminum thing here, I got some 1s out of it, so I'm thinking like it's probably considered the same water as the big lake that's there. It looks very similar in color. The whole area kind of feels very similar. So I'm assuming that's probably just the same zone as far as what the game considers. Next I checked the like weird little swampy area over here, and I know that the water is extremely shallow, but it's actually deep enough to put water life collectors, and you can see like I've got 2 of them right down there. I was actually able to get the 8s out of this one. So I was emptying them all out, and there were the level 8 eggs that were coming out of this one, which I haven't been able to make those ones. So those ones are kind of a unique one if you're, trying to get them all. I mean, obviously the 11s are the best one, but I actually was able to get one that I so far have not been able to mutate into, I don't think. Sorry about the food and water alerts there. I'm still doing this on my hardcore playthrough. It's easier for me to build on as to what's going on. My long playthrough, everything's just automatically unlocked, so it actually was kind of hard for me to discern what was new and what wasn't. So moving on to the Stargate Zone, this one also gave me the 8s. So I'm thinking maybe when they were cutting swaths out, they obviously put narrower swaths, like here's iridium, here's aluminum, here's zeolite, stuff like that. I think the zones for what qualifies as what water, I think it was probably a little bit bigger. So there's 8s here and there's 8s here. I didn't bother to, look into these lakes individually because, given how wide of an area it casts, when I saw that the zeolite and the crater were both giving 7s, I was kind of like, okay, I think you probably got to go a good distance away before you start getting a different zone or something. And then when I noticed that these were both 8s, I'm like, okay, well, if that's an 8 and that's an 8, I'm reasonably certain and call on it that those are also 8s. Now we're into one that really did surprise me. Down here in the mushroom forest, nothing. I emptied them by hand. I set auto collectors to go get them. I ran out there at least 4 or 5 times, just completely emptied them. I got absolutely nothing but the A's, B's, and C's out of them. Like, perpetually. It never gave me a single egg out of it all. So I did it like I did so many times. Like I wanted to have a good baseline, a good sample size for what I was working with. I never got a single egg out of the mushroom forest, and that surprised the hell out of me because I'm like, that seemed like an area like who would think to put a water life collector there? Like that seems like something that would reward you. And last but not least, this one gave me the highest that I had ever found. Obviously the A's, B's, and C's, but it was also giving me egg number 10. I don't want to talk about probabilities, but this one, it was not only giving me 10s, but it felt, again, I wasn't counting, and you don't want to have observer bias or anything like that, but it felt like the frequency that I was getting 10s out of this was higher than, how many 7s I got out of these two, or etc. So it was giving me 10s, and it felt like it was giving me 10s at a pretty good rate. So that part's kind of interesting. Lots of interesting things about this. They have said in the dev branches and a couple of forum posts and stuff, this is a work in progress zone. The crater hasn't changed much. The caves haven't changed much. This is an evolving area. So the people that are building here, I know that it's a pretty popular place to live. You're gonna have a few hiccups if you're living out here, because I saw another person post that they had a house out there and now their base was like clipping into sand dunes, and a hill grew up where they were living, and some stuff had to get torn down. So this place, just be a heads up, if you're one of those people that are waiting for the stable branch to come out, you might have the stable branch come out and your base might have some hiccups and might have some stuff that's going on if you're living down here. I did check out the cave that I found in there. It does appear to be a very well fleshed out cave. It's got some good depth to it. There's obviously going to be something inside of it. I mean, I remember making fun of these guys, I don't know, about 3-4 months ago. You broke the cardinal rule of video games. You put in a waterfall, but you didn't put anything behind the waterfall. That's rule number 1 of just video game etiquette, If you put in a waterfall, you gotta have a secret behind the waterfall. So there's a cave back there. Stuff is definitely coming. While we're doing all this time talking about the screens and stuff, they have made a few performance adjustments, but it's weird. I have been seeing some people talking about oh, my frame rate is worse now. These are people that are on the dev branch, saying like, oh, my frame rate's a little chunky, my FPS is down, I'm getting some stuttering and stuff. When 003 and 004 were out, my frame rate was like the best it's ever been in this game. They had adjusted the drills, they had adjusted, I think, the 3s, the 4s, and the 5s. They had adjusted some heaters, just basically like things wouldn't pop in until you got super close to them. They had adjusted some of the butterfly stuff as well, so if you were a good distance away, and then you're looking back at your butterflies, like you can see, like a lot of my butterflies are either not moving. Yeah, they're kind of like just stationary. Like they have an animation, but they're not actually moving around. As you start to get closer, they get a little choppy, and then when you get all the way in, okay, now they're fully animated and moving. They started doing similar stuff to that with the drills, so that you can see like, okay, my drills aren't moving. You get closer and closer, they're gonna start to process your distance, and then there go the drills to start moving. They did all that to start like increasing frame rate and to just get the whole game running smoother. They have been on top of frame rate since day one. Like, they know that it's a very complex, complicated game. It's running a million thoughts in the back of its head at all times, and they've been doing stuff to fix that. They've done something similar with the lights and I think like the beacons and stuff. So you've got like those little ambiance lights and a few other things, and then these like little make your own screens and like the signs and stuff. If you're a distance away, these won't even pop in at all. Like, they'll just be not even rendered into existence. So they're doing a bunch of stuff to cut down on the frame rate to cut down on processing and stuff like that. But if you'll notice in the lower corner, I'm at 35, 40, 35, When it holds still, sometimes it goes up to 60, but it's still getting a little on the rough side. It depends on, like, where I'm looking or what I'm doing. Like, yeah, see right here, I'm at 60. So I'm not really sure which things are the resource hogs. It might actually be the fish themselves. I mean, look at them. They're beautiful. They're perfectly animated. I mean, they're so well animated, they look real. I mean, they're clearly modeled after real fish, just with strange alien colors and markings. But I'm at 40, 45 right now, so there's a few frame rate things that are going on now. The drones are finicky now. Sometimes it was working and sometimes not. And then sometimes when I jump into a game initially, I would sit around and wait, do whatever. I'd save it, come back into it, just from the title screen, and then immediately I'd hear ka-chunk, 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 and then these guys were taking off to go do whatever. Now, the other thing that I've said about the supply side of stuff, these are going to have their, put them anywhere you want privileges revoked, and they're going to have to go to, the proper location. I always look up there just because the osmium is like the first one I think about, because, it's like right there. You are going to have to put them in their appropriate locations. I still don't see that as a downside because, again, we have this now. And it does keep on theme, because the whole point of the extractors was, even from the level 1, you have to put the level 1 in the right zone. The level 2 you had to put in the right zone. So now that we have level 3s, it still stands to reason that, what's the benefit of the level 3? Because it gets only the thing that you want. If it could get only the thing that you wanted and be in a zone that there's no osmium here, there's no zeolite here, there's no super alloy here. So I am still okay with that update. As long as these are functioning properly, then, taking away their put anywhere ability, that doesn't really hurt me any, Between this and teleporters, okay, you don't need to have them right outside your door, I don't think. Here's another strange thing. The D's are taken out. I mean, you can see there's still a graphic for it, but if you try to look at the demand here, A, B, C, there's no D anymore. The D was never produced. Like I said, I set this to demand, and in every one of those water collectors, I set them all to supply as well. Never got a single one in this thing. The other thing is, I was able to kind of cheat a little bit and see what some of the recipes were. Yeah, that part's gone. See, there's no more recipes anymore. Oh, also, I see people really getting confused about this. They're like, oh, I made a bunch of drones, I put them in this locker. Don't do that. They will not do anything if you put them in a locker. I don't know why. I don't even know why this even shows up on supply and demand. Don't do that. Like, you're gonna break them. So I've been seeing a lot of people complaining about, oh, the drones are broken, I did this and this. No, that's not your drones are broken. That's you're not putting them where they need to be. Open drone station. This container, you need to have your drones here. So when you go to it says genetic sequences for now, but when you make them, you craft them here. They're not going to go into your inventory. They're going to go over here. So just leave them here. Leave them here, and then go out, set your supply, set your demand. For right now, I would say do continue to set your priority. Just set it all to 1. I mean, I get that it's probably a quality of life type of thing. For example, I have 2 silicon demanders. If I put this to 2 and that one to 1, I guess if they weren't full, then, it would probably take out all the silicon that's in that extractor, put it into that one first. Uh-oh, that one's full. Look to number 2, fill that one first, or it's that one second then. I'm sure that's probably how it works, but, I mean, once you're at a certain point, like, how many lockers are you really going to need? How many things are you actually still continuing to make? So I just set everything basically just to 1. I mean, look at that, the fish just came out, and in a heartbeat, I immediately got, a full set of A's, full set of B's, and even a full set of C's. So I don't know. So what do you think of all the new fish? What do you think of the new drone mechanic? What do you think of the priority system? Have you been on the dev branch at all? What do you guys think? I'm still absolutely floored. The second I got into this, the second I saw my first fish, my jaw dropped. I was absolutely aghast at everything that they've done with this and everything that they've accomplished with this game so far. Every time they release a new update, I mean, the craters and caves one blew me away. But then the lore and automation came out, and good God, was I completely floored with everything on that. That was just an incredibly, amazing update to an already amazing game. Can't even wait to see what the finished product of it is, because, don't forget, we're here for a reason, Yeah, 2 convict. Once you're done, don't leave until the terraformation is complete. The end game and the finished product on this is going to be absolutely incredible. It's going to be amazing. But what do you guys think of the version 7 so far? Thank you so much for joining me this little update in Planet Crafter, and I hope to see you in the next one. This is 7. Bye.